to 164 at the close. At the close, Sarah, we are up 2/3 of 1% on the S&P, 0.7% on the Dow, and 0.2% on the Nasdaq.
Record closing high there for the S&P 500. Another strong day on Wall Street. Welcome back, everyone, to Closing Bell. I'm Sarah Eisen, along with Wilfred Frost and Mike Santoli, CNBC senior markets commentator. Take a look at how we finished up the day on Wall Street. The Dow gaining 242 points, near the highs of the session. Had a nice little final hour of trade there. For the week, we're pretty much flat week to date. Keep in mind, we're going in one last trading day of the month of April. We are set for the strongest month for stocks since back in November. S&P 500 closes up about 0.7% and closes at a new all-time high. What took us there? Communication services. Thank you, Facebook, and a number of other media names. Financials also at the top of the list. Technology, healthcare. Those were the two losing sectors. As for the Nasdaq, it set an intraday record high earlier today, closed up about 0.25%, a little less than that. We also saw an intraday record high for the Dow Transports and for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Didn't quite close there. The small caps actually lagged today. They finished the day lower. Investors are now turning their attention to a trio of big earnings. We will have instant analysis of results from Amazon, Twitter, Gilead, as soon as all of those numbers come out. First up, let's talk about this record close. Stephanie Link from Hightower is still with us. Paul Hickey from Bespoke Investment Group joins the conversation. First to you, Mike, on another strong day, backed up by strong data and strong earnings.
Yeah, I mean, everything pretty much lined up. It might have been a less enthusiastic response than we thought it was going to be first thing in the morning. Definitely mixed in terms of a lot of push-pull below the surface of the index. But, you know, we closed above what had been a little bit of a mini ceiling on the market for a few days. And, it's sort of everything is pretty much in line with the continuation of this rally. But, again, you have to weigh that against the idea that 2 or 3 weeks ago, people were saying, we're due for some kind of choppiness, some kind of pullback. We've had this great 13-month run in the markets. Maybe that attitude has actually moderated the aggressiveness of traders enough that we're now back to just an upward tilt, very gentle bias to the upside, at least at this point.
Just want to hit Amazon numbers, or at least the headline of it, as they cross a massive beat on the bottom line and a big beat, not massive, but still big on the top line. Revenue 108.5 billion. The forecast was 104.5. The estimate for EPS was for 9.54, and it's come in at 15.79. So massive beat on the bottom line, solid beat on the top line. If we just go through some of the numbers, which I'm looking through as we speak, AWS coming in at 13.5 billion. The forecast was for 13.9 billion, I believe. So maybe a slight miss there. International sales came in at 30.6 billion. The forecast was 28.9, and North American revenue came in at 64.4 billion, just behind 66.4 billion as the estimate for that line. Sorry, I'm comparing those to the second quarter. The individual lines, North America, 64.3. The forecast was 63.1. International came in at 30.6, the forecast was 28, and AWS came in at 13.5, the forecast was 13.2. So slight beats on each of the individual lines on revenue, a beat on the top line, therefore, for revenue, and a big beat on the bottom line, and Mike jumping 5% in after-hours trade.
Yeah, as you're just mentioning, it seemed like people had not felt a reason to raise the earnings per share estimate despite these top line. $4 billion top line beat is pretty impressive for Amazon, although, we saw $12 billion from Apple yesterday. Stock now at a new all-time high, so it did just sort of release it, out of that range, at least for the short term.
Jeff Bezos, in the quote, the first quote, he highlights two of their businesses, calling them two of our kids, which was a little confusing at first, saying they're now 10 and 15 years old. But he's highlighting their Amazon Prime Video, which turned 10, and some of the milestones there. Over 175 million Prime members have streamed shows and movies, talks about the Oscar nods. And then AWS, he said, in 15 years has become a $54 billion annual sales run rate business, competing against other technologies. And then goes on, Steph, to talk about some of their clients like McDonald's and Volkswagen using AWS. This is clearly a beat on all fronts.
It's not a surprise, right, as we just talked about, but it's very exciting. And the stock was only up 6% into, just today into the print. So I can see it easily playing catch up to Facebook and to Google or Alphabet. I think it easily can play catch up because the growth is really there.